Just like every other beautiful girl when I was in my mid-20s, I had the thoughts of settling down soon, but I was faced with a heart's dilemma. So many men were asking me out, and I was confused. About 3 of them were showing some seriousness, because they behaved like they wanted to marry me. I was faced with 3 paths to love, but at the end, it became love's unexpected lesson. At first, it wasn't easy, because I was surrounded by many, but had to choose. I was scared of pushing the right suitor away, so I didn't reject anyone without taking my time to study them. I never visited any of them at their homes, or accepted invitations to meet in hotel rooms. I decided to spend time only with the serious ones, hoping to eventually end up with the perfect match. Out of all the men who were chasing me, and those who flooded my inbox, I developed affection for 2 of them. One was called Victor, and the other, Colin. But there was this other guy who was frustrating my life, Tony. I had rejected him several times and told him I had a boyfriend. But he kept pestering me. He even stalked me, always claiming how much he loved me. Every time I saw him coming toward me, I would become furious. So I decided to make him give up on his own, by asking him for expensive gifts. I wanted to frustrate him into leaving me alone. I didn't like Tony because he was just a common driver. Though he wasn't bad looking, was simple, and always smelled good, I just didn't like his face. Despite my rudeness, he never shouted at me. He kept chasing after me like a bee clinging to a colorful flower. In order to drive him away, I asked him to buy me a new iPhone, since my current phone was old. But my favorites were the other guys, especially Victor. He was wealthy, drove a luxurious car, owned a company, and was very handsome. He had a great sense of style, wore appealing perfume, and treated me very well. I always felt comfortable in his car whenever we went on dates. He had all the qualities of my ideal man. When I asked Tony for the iPhone, I knew he would likely disappear from my life. He begged me to give him a month to look for the money, but he kept texting and showing concern, even though I often ignored his messages and only replied when I felt like it. When he called to beg me to hang out, I told him, "I believe that true love comes with actions, so prove that you truly love me." Yet, he never gave up. As for Colin, he was rich too, but not as wealthy as Victor. I kept hanging out with him, just in case Victor ended up disappointing me. I didn't fully trust men because of my past experiences. But with the way Victor treated me, I was convinced his love was genuine. He was the one I truly desired. After about a month, he asked me to come visit him at his house. As usual, I pretended. "Victor, what do you want me to come do in your house?"
Are you a child? We've been dating for a month now.
I was craving him, but I wanted him to insist. I didn't want to appear cheap. At the same time, I never wanted him to know about the other guys. But I was very open with Tony. I told him plainly, "I've told you several times that I have a boyfriend, and I love him very much. So stop wasting your time."
I know. A beautiful, enticing girl like you must have a boyfriend. But I like girls who are sincere.
Despite all of that, he still stayed around and never stopped showing his interest or seriousness. But I also insisted that he had to prove his love. After insisting that I visit him, I decided to visit Victor, and I was amazed by his apartment. It was well furnished and amazing. He told me he was living there alone, and I never saw any signs of a woman in his house. We made love twice that day, and to be sincere, he was man enough, even in the bedroom. But a few days later, Tony surprised me with a brand new iPhone. I was shocked, and after that, he never asked me to visit him, but he kept checking on me. I was impressed by his actions, but my heart was never with him. He was the one I overlooked, and his iPhone trapped me into at least giving him some time. But what I noticed was that after Victor had slept with me, he still kept showing me love, though I felt like he was not as into me as before, but I loved him more and was attached to him. As for Colin, I never rejected him because he could turn out to be the real man. He was too authoritative, but that made him man enough. As for Tony, he was weak, because he seemed to be timid, but there was no doubt about it, because he was just a common driver. But I had no issue with Victor because he still cared, so what bothered me was that he was no longer talking about marriage, or asking me questions like someone who wanted to marry me. One day, I was hanging out with Tony, seeing him more like a friend, and not in a relationship, but he thought we were in a relationship. He begged me to come pay him a visit, but I refused. He even told me that all he wanted was for me to come see where he lived, but I denied.
If you are scared, you can come to my house with your friends. I don't mean to pressure you. I only want you to know I have nothing to hide.
See your house, and then do what?
Nothing inappropriate. I just want you to know me better, my space, how I live, my values. I know it may sound strange, but I'm not like most men. I love God, and I believe in doing things the right way, with honesty and respect. I care so much about you, and I want us to be in a relationship, please.
I told you several times that I have a boyfriend, and I love him.
I understand, and if he truly loves and honors you, I won't stand in your way. I only pray God opens your eyes to see the difference between a man who wants you, and one who values you. And are you sure this boyfriend is serious? That's something only time and God can reveal. But I can only tell you what I know. Any man who loves you will lead you closer to Christ, not just his bed.
All men are the same. I don't trust men like you. And I don't love a man with all my heart anymore.
I want to assure you, not all men are the same. There are still men who fear God, and will never play with your heart, or your purity. I'm not perfect, but I strive to be that kind of man, by his grace. And with that statement that you don't trust men like me, it hurts me, you know.
Are you blaming me?
No, I'm not blaming you. I just want you to know that my intentions are genuine. If it's God's will, he will lead our paths together. And if not, I'll still pray for your peace and happiness. If you don't want me, stop picking my calls, and stop everything between us.
We have nothing going on. When I stop picking your calls or texting you, you will come begging me again. And each time I stopped responding to his calls or messages, he came begging, saying that he loved me. I saw the fact that he was obsessed with me. As for Colin, I also avoided sleeping with him. The person I wanted to discourage was Tony. One day, I was strolling with Tony when we passed by a shop displaying a giant teddy bear. I had always wanted one, so I got excited and stood admiring it. Tony noticed my excitement and asked the seller how much it cost. The woman said it was $32. Without hesitation, he paid her a deposit, and told me to come back the next day to collect it, promising to send her the balance later. And truly, I returned the next day and collected the teddy bear. That gift became something I could never forget about Tony. Every time I saw it lying next to me on my bed, I remembered his kind heart, and I began to like him, just a little. Tony was genuinely kind, but he wasn't really my kind of guy. He wasn't rich or particularly good looking, though he did seem intelligent. I was already deeply in love with Victor, and he was driving me crazy. He constantly invited me over, and knew how to treat a woman. I knew Victor was wealthy, but whenever we went out, I was never extravagant. I made it clear that I wasn't with him for his money. I just loved his presence, and enjoyed taking pictures with him, or in his luxurious car, which I often posted on social media to flaunt to my friends that I had a successful man in my life. As for Colin, I considered him my man for bad weather. That is, whenever things weren't smooth with Victor, I would call Colin for comfort. He was always busy, and since I didn't give him much attention, he started acting distant and difficult. Colin was definitely proud. He made it known that he would never beg any girl for love. Of course, he was financially stable, and women liked men like him. He could be authoritative and possessive most times, but he always reminded me, whether directly or indirectly, that I wasn't the only beautiful girl in the world. Though he never openly showed off other women, his actions spoke louder than his words. He also enjoyed drinking and hanging out with friends. He lived a carefree lifestyle. Honestly, his personality matched my type more than Tony's. Colin was someone I could manage. He was tough, but he helped me feel like I mattered. Tony, on the other hand, didn't give me anything to boast about, except the way he treated me. He once said to me honestly,
"This is my boss's car. I'm just the driver."
"Is this how he'll struggle to feed me if we end up together?" That thought irritated me each time I looked at him. Then, one day, he made a request that truly annoyed me. He invited me on what he called a special date. And I asked him plainly, "Why do you keep chasing someone who already has a boyfriend?"
"It's because each time I say I'll stop calling you, I still find myself coming back. It's because I love you."
"I don't even know why I still pick your calls. Imagine if my boyfriend sees those messages you keep sending me."
"Please, just find a day and come visit me.
"What?
We've known each other for months now, yet you don't even know where I live."
I know how you men behave. I'm not coming to your house."
"If you're worried I might try something inappropriate, then come with a friend. I have no bad intentions."
"That's what you all say. The moment we visit, you start acting funny, touching us, and claiming it wasn't your plan." I kept pushing him away, but he never stopped texting, and claiming how much he loved me. Every time he texted that he missed me, and wanted me to visit his house, I would just respond with LOL. I didn't know he understood what that meant, until one day, he called me on phone, clearly upset.
Please stop doing this.
"Stop doing what?"
Anytime I express my genuine feelings for you, you mock me.
"How do I mock you?"
You always reply with LOL.
"Do you even know what I mean by that?"
It means laugh out loud.
I had always disrespected him, yet he never stopped respecting me. He spent time and money on me, while I freely gave myself to Victor. I was only trying to exploit Tony, hoping he would eventually give up and disappear from my life.
"Please stop doing this. You know how much I've spent on you."
"If it's about the phone, I can return it. Do you know how much my ex-boyfriend used to spend on me?" Each time I mentioned my boyfriend, I could tell it hurt him, but he always tried to hide the pain. Then came a day when I couldn't reach Victor. His number wasn't going through, and I got worried. So, I decided to go check on him at his apartment. When I arrived at his house, I was shocked to see another lady's pair of shoes at the door. I froze, angry and furious. So he's been lying to me all along. Still, I tried not to jump to conclusions. I knocked at the door, though the sound of laughter and music inside made my heart sink. I stood there, fuming, then I heard a woman's voice from inside.
"My darling, someone's at the door.
"Please just help me check who it is. I'm not properly dressed yet."
Are you expecting someone?"
"No."
"Sorry, are you looking for someone?"
"Can I speak with Victor? Tell him that Peggy is here."
"I'm sorry, madam.
"Miss Peggy."
Miss Peggy whatever. You're at the wrong address.
"Please ask Victor to come out here."
If you insist." "Darling, there is someone here claiming you're a certain Victor."
But to my utter shock, the man who walked out of the living room wasn't Victor. "I'm very sorry, what are you people doing in my boyfriend's house?"
"What boyfriend, and which house?"
This is my boyfriend's house.
This is a guest house. I rented it from an agent for 2 days.
What do you mean guest house?
I mean it's a short-let apartment. Anyone can rent it.
But Victor told me he owned this house.
I'm sorry. Unless he owns the entire building, I just know I rented it. I don't know anything about your boyfriend.
Could it be Victor is a fraud, or not who he claims to be? I even went down to ask some neighbors, and they told me the real owner of the house hardly came around, but I still thought there was a mix-up somewhere. He was surely the owner of the house and took me there for us to have fun, because he said it was one of his houses. But the truth was, I never asked if he lived there permanently. Now, it was clear to me, maybe it was one of his houses, or maybe he was hiding something. The signs pointed to the possibility that Victor was either married and hiding me from his wife, or seeing someone else and using the guest house to cover up. Why else would he take me to a guest apartment? I needed answers. I had to confront him. So, I called and told him I wanted to see him. He said he was at work, and would get back to me later. That evening, he finally said he was coming over to my place. But just at that moment, Tony showed up unexpectedly. Despite the anger boiling inside me, I didn't want to explode. Tony had done so much for me and truly cared. I didn't want to disrespect him, at least not openly. Now I had to think fast. I needed to make sure Victor didn't walk in and meet Tony. That would be chaotic. At that point, I started reconsidering Colin's proposal. With all the doubts clouding my heart about Victor, I felt I needed to hear the truth, straight from the horse's mouth. I had to play smart to prevent the two of them from crossing paths. I quickly told Tony that I had received an urgent call concerning a job I had applied for. That was my excuse to leave. He nodded gently and said,
"See you soon."
I could see the hurt in his eyes. Deep down, I knew he sensed I was avoiding him. I decided to go out and meet Victor where he said he was going to wait for me, since I told him there was no need to come to my place, because I was about to go out. I got to the junction, and he described where I could find him. He had parked the car outside the snack bar. Immediately I got in, I met him answering a call and stepping out.
Okay, sir, I'll be there in no time. Just give me a few minutes. Where should I meet you, sir? All right, just give me a few minutes. I'll be there. Please, I have to leave now. Would you like a drink?
I didn't come here for a drink, I came to see you.
I'm really sorry. A business partner is calling me. Go ahead and ask me whatever you wanted to talk about.
I can't ask you anything when you're obviously in a hurry. Without saying much, he excused himself and left, without even asking if I needed a ride back. That moment confirmed my suspicions. I was now almost certain that Victor was hiding something, possibly a wife. Later that evening, he called to apologize and promised to come see me the following morning. I couldn't sleep all night. My mind was restless. At dawn, he finally called and told me to meet him. We sat on a wooden bench facing his car in a quiet public garden. He looked a bit anxious.
What did you want to ask me yesterday that you couldn't wait for?
Are you married?
No.
Where is your permanent residence?
But I already took you to one of my houses.
Yes, and when I came there to surprise you, I found other people in the house. They claimed it was a guest house rented for 2 days.
Oh yes. I rent out some of my properties as guest houses. It's part of my business.
Then why didn't you take me to your permanent home?
I wanted to impress you. That house was one of the nicest I have. When we get married, you can choose any of my properties for us to live in. The house I currently live in is one of my older homes from when I was still struggling. I even have some properties around Palm Beach. Don't worry, I'll take you there soon.
I want to see where you currently live, your real home.
It's only because I wanted to impress you. You know how much I love you. But I promise, you'll see my house very soon.
I was a little worried. Maybe Victor was hiding where he lived, because he had a wife and children. But he kept assuring me, and I told myself I would wait for the day he'd finally take me to his residence. To move forward, I decided to test all 3 suitors. I didn't want to lose the right person because of indecision, so I had to act fast. The first person I wanted to confirm wasn't married was Victor. I needed to test his genuineness, so I invited him over and told him, "I'm pregnant for you."
Wow!
Instead of reacting with fear or rejection, he was happy. He didn't hesitate, he immediately began talking about marriage. But before anything else, I thought it was best to get Tony out of the way. So I met with him and said, "I'm really sorry, but things can no longer work between us."
Why? You know how much I love you.
Unfortunately, I'm pregnant for my boyfriend.
Why have you decided to hurt me this badly?
I told you I had a boyfriend. He left without saying another word. But the following day, he returned to ask if the man who got me pregnant was serious. Yes.
No matter what, I'll always be there for you.
After that, he stopped stalking me, but still checked in occasionally. Even though I had cut him off, he never asked me to return anything he gave me. I had finally gotten Tony out of the picture. Next was Colin. Since he had never slept with me, I had to come up with a different plan to test his heart. Honestly, I didn't feel he was as serious as the others, his level of commitment seemed low. After thinking about it for days, I came up with an idea. "Please, can you try to find a few days for us to visit my parents in the village? I've been talking about you to them, and they want to meet you. I know you're very busy, but this really means a lot to me."
I'll let you know when I'm free.
But he kept postponing and making excuses. Eventually, I began to realize he wasn't truly interested in marrying me. When I confronted him about it, he said,
If I travel now, I'll lose a contract I've been chasing for almost a year.
"Do you really care about me and our future?
I do.
But all you care about is work, work, and more work."
I'm working for our future.
To be fair, Colin was a hard-working man, and I believed he had good intentions. A responsible man should have priorities, and he claimed,
This contract will secure our future.
At the same time, I was still submitting my documents to several companies in search of a job, but I hadn't been called by any of them. Then one day, while I was with Victor, I picked up a flyer from his car. It read, "We are hiring an accountant and 2 sales agents for our company. If you have experience and meet the requirements, try your luck." The company was called Extra Miles Affair Limited, a transport and logistics firm also involved in exports. I wanted to ask Victor where the company was located, but he had just stepped out of the car to take a call. Strangely, he didn't answer the call in front of me. When he returned, he said,
"I'm really sorry. I'll drop you at the entrance of your street. I need to attend to an urgent business call. It's about a big contract."
Okay. In the rush, I forgot to ask him about the company. But later, I made up my mind to apply for the job myself. I took the flyer I had picked from Victor's car and followed the address and instructions to apply for the job. Initially, I wanted to call him to drop me off at the company's premises, but that day, I got in touch with Colin instead, and he agreed to take me there. When we arrived, I walked into the company building and submitted my application. The secretary received it with a warm smile and said,
The CEO isn't on seat at the moment. He's the one in charge of reviewing applications. I'll verify the documents and send them to him. If he approves your file, he'll forward it to the HR department for the next step.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you. The secretary was very pleasant and kind. She assured me that if I was shortlisted, they would reach out to me by phone. I was grateful, and a bit hopeful too. It was then that I began to realize something. I was actually starting to fall for Tony. Among all the men in my life, he had proven to be the most consistent, caring, and selfless, even though he had the least to offer financially. He had acted more like a man than the rest. That was the moment I decided to test both Victor and Colin one more time. I looked back and realized, neither of them had ever spent anything significant on me, not even up to $40. Meanwhile, Tony, the poor one, had done far more. Maybe I had been too hard on him. Perhaps I only demanded so much from him because I was trying to push him away. So, I decided to test Victor. I told him that my house rent had expired, and I needed help paying the landlord. I also sent the same message to Colin, hoping to see who would come through for me. Colin didn't even hide his true intentions. He replied coldly,
Why should I do that for you? Ask the man you're sleeping with to pay your bills.
Right there, I knew his heart. He had no genuine intentions. All he wanted was my body. I disqualified Colin immediately. As for Victor, I was disappointed. He kept postponing, giving excuses, and pleading with me to give him more time to gather the money. This is the man who's been sleeping with me, riding around in a car worth millions. Yet, he can't pay rent that's not even up to $600. Meanwhile, Tony, the common driver, was the one who gave without being asked. Had I made a mistake? I eventually confronted Victor about it. I told him how disappointed I was. Instead of stepping up, he only complained that he was going through a rough financial season, and asked for more time. Out of consideration, I agreed and gave him a little more time. Then, the following week, I got a call from the company. I had been shortlisted and invited for an interview. I was so anxious that morning. I knelt and prayed, asking God to open doors of favor for me. On that fateful day, I walked through the corridors of the company, and was directed to sit in the conference room for my interview. I was told the CEO himself would be the one to interview me. I sat there, wondering why I seemed to be the only candidate present. Then the secretary came in and explained.
The CEO personally requested your interview be scheduled on a different day. He found your academic portfolio impressive.
Okay. While waiting, I nervously tapped at my phone, not really doing anything. I was too timid and bored. Then the secretary returned and said,
The boss is on his way.
Okay, thanks. A few minutes later, the door opened, and to my greatest shock, Victor walked in. I froze. Victor.
Peggy? What are you doing here?
I came for a job interview. Are you the CEO of Extra Miles Limited?
I work here.
Does that mean I've gotten the job? But before he could respond, another person I never expected entered the conference room. Victor turned and introduced him.
This is my boss, the CEO of this company, Mr. Tony Miles.
What?
Hello, Peggy.
So, you're the CEO?
Yes. When I saw your file, I had a feeling it might be you, but I didn't know all your names. That's why I asked my secretary to schedule you separately. I wanted to be sure. So tell me, how do you know Victor? Do you know her?
Yes, sir. She's my fiancée. I had no idea she was applying for a job here.
At that moment, I felt the ground beneath me could open and swallow me. I wanted to stop Victor from speaking, but it was too late. He had said too much.
So, you've been lying to me, Peggy. Wow. Women. But it's okay. Let's focus on why we're here. Congratulations, you got the job. I wish you and Victor all the best. I could never fight over a woman with my driver, it would be beneath me. I only hid my identity, because I wanted to find someone who could love me for who I am, not for what I have. Have a nice day, Miss Peggy.
I was speechless, and deeply ashamed. And that was how I went back, begging Tony. But unfortunately, he presented another woman to me, the same day. She was the woman he had proposed to.
This is the woman I want to marry. She never knew my true status, yet she kept showing genuine interest in me. But as love is blind, I didn't love her at first. You were the one I truly loved, but you were only after men with loaded bank accounts. So my driver figured out what you were looking for, and made you believe he was a wealthy man.
It was in that moment that I finally realized how badly I had misjudged him. I looked at Tony in that well-fitted suit, so handsome, composed, and confident. His speech was eloquent and commanding. He had authority, yet he had humbled himself just to find a woman who would love him for who he was. Instead of looking through his heart, I had looked into his pocket. Then he said something that pierced me deeply.
If you want to keep your job, you have to marry my driver. I respect people who keep to their promises.
Out of shame and confusion, I decided to give Victor a chance. But soon, I discovered the harsh truth. The guest house he had once presented to me as his house was actually one of Tony's properties. I had rejected a wealthy, God-fearing man for his driver. And the saddest part, neither of them had known they were dating the same woman. I did everything I could to make Tony break up with his fiancée, but it was too late. He had learned to truly love her. And honestly, I saw how compatible they were. Their connection was genuine. They complemented each other in a way that I never could. Eventually, Tony and his fiancée got married. Victor, on the other hand, continued planning to pay my bride price, but his actions revealed his true intentions. All he really wanted was to keep sleeping with me. We never even got married. The turning point came when I asked him for help one day, and he confessed he was broke. That was when the veil was lifted. He only looked good driving his boss's car. He had pretended to be someone he wasn't. In reality, there was nothing impressive about him, not even his character. He was a liar. Victor had made me believe he was a successful man, but he lived in a tiny, two-room studio apartment, with an external toilet shared by other tenants. I finally walked away. I chose to stay single, and kept praying to find a man I could truly build a future with. I now knew what I wanted, not riches, not status, but character and sincerity, someone like Tony. A man who truly feared God and loved genuinely. But I never found one like him, and in the end, I discovered that Cullen was already married. In a world where appearances, wealth, and status often speak louder than values, this story reminds us of what truly matters: character, integrity, and the fear of God. Peggy chased flashy things, handsome faces, expensive cars, and sweet words, but ignored the man who genuinely loved her. Tony, though a CEO, humbled himself and hid his identity to see if she could love him for who he was, not what he had. But she was blinded by physical attraction and material things. Just like God told Samuel when he chose David as king, man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Peggy missed what was important, because she prioritized her eyes over her spirit. She ended up with heartbreak and regret, not because there were no good men, but because she didn't take time to discern with God's help. This story also teaches us that the choices we make in love and relationships today will shape the peace, or pain, we live with tomorrow. Peggy, Victor, each of them made decisions that seemed exciting in the moment, but carried consequences that couldn't be undone. Peggy gave her body to Victor outside of marriage, thinking it would secure his love. But sex doesn't guarantee commitment. The truth is, marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. Hebrews 13:4. Victor used her and made her believe he was someone he wasn't. This is a warning to every young woman. Don't trade purity for empty promises. Sex before marriage doesn't create love, it clouds judgment, and often invites heartbreak. It makes you bond with someone who hasn't made a covenant to stay. Flee from sexual immorality. You are not your own, you were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies. 1 Corinthians 6:18-20. Peggy's pain and Victor's lies are what happens when people pursue pleasure instead of purpose. 1. Don't give your body to someone who hasn't vowed to protect your heart. Marriage is the boundary God gave to preserve intimacy. 2. Wait for God's best. Don't rush into a relationship just to prove a point or secure attention. What begins outside God's will never ends in true peace. 3. Love with wisdom, not desperation. Tony loved purely and with intention. He wasn't flashy, but he was faithful. 4. Let God guide your heart. The Holy Spirit will warn you if you're about to settle. Don't ignore the red flags just because of pressure, gifts, or attraction. 5. Don't be deceived by outward charm. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Proverbs 31:30. 6. Pray before entering a relationship. Seek God's guidance. Just because someone looks good, sounds good, and acts charming doesn't mean they're right for you. 7. Don't sell your worth for material gain. Tony was willing to give his heart, but Peggy ignored him for wealth that faded like vapor. Let no one buy your loyalty with things, they will fade. 8. Wait on God's best. It's better to be single and growing, than to rush into a relationship full of lies and regret. Lord Jesus, help us not to be deceived by sweet words or temporary gifts. Give us discernment to wait for love that honors you. May we not fall for lust disguised as love. Heal those who have made past mistakes, and give them a fresh start. Help us honor you with our bodies and our choices. Heavenly Father, teach us to value what you value. Give us eyes to see beyond the surface, and a heart to seek your will in our relationships. Help us not to chase money, fame, or physical beauty, but to desire godly character, wisdom, and love rooted in you. In Jesus' name, Amen.